automatically, or do I gotta press it?
Hit go. Well, it appears as though we're having a technical issue. Are you there, Shannon? Something's going on Shannon then. On my end. Hey guys. Hey everybody. Oh, you're muted, Shannon. I don't know what happened. We got gremlins tonight, everybody. Welcome to Children of the Most High with Shannon and Roxy. And Shannon is off and on, and we seem to, and my microphone. There you
Oh,
go.
there we go. Sorry, and the intro wasn't playing, so sorry, but no intro tonight.
It was playing on my
Well,
side, but it was like skipping and stopping, and
it was completely blank on my side. I have no idea. Well, anyways, you know what? I will turn on my camera for a moment, although it may take a minute. I am not necessarily feeling the best today or necessarily looking at my best. But oh, well, how weird is that? See? And then I don't
well,
know,
you're freezing
everything was
up.
working just fine before. Oh, there we go. Hi. Hello everyone.
I don't know
Welcome
what's going
to
on
the
tonight, guys.
children. Right. Welcome to the Children of the Most High channel. I am your host tonight, Shannon Maxwell, also known as Soul 7, and I am here tonight with my amazing co-host Roxy with the Roxy Files. Happy fake New Year.
Happy fake New Year.
Now we all get to change the dates on everything and confuse ourselves just a little bit more.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. I see we got Mike and Joey. Biggie, is the audio better now, Biggie? I don't know what kind of tech gremlin jumped on us, but we've been sitting in
Yeah,
studio for 30 minutes running our mouths with no problem.
no problems. Although you do sound like you're in that ice storm again. She's in an ice
I don't know
storm.
what's going on. I think the wires on my mic are just shot from pack up and tear down so many times. I got to get two studios. That's just all there is to it. Two equipment studios.
Well, you know, as time goes by, I always say that these attacks are on purpose. I don't really feel like it's just like we're having technical issues. This is straight attack mode because maybe they don't want us to talk about the things we're going to talk about tonight, which would
Ain't it?
right. Oh, there you go. See,
Am I all better now?
you sound great.
I have literally backed away from the desk and I'm not touching anything. I'm just talking. Seems
Well,
safer.
so tonight we are going to definitely find out who gets their giveaways today. I have, of course, my little model book right here. I have 3 of them to give away for whoever had subscribed to our channels in this last month. And I just kind of wanted to mention that I had 5 subscribers in the last 28 days, but only one of them is not private. So I don't know who you guys are, so I can't add you into my little thing. If you could maybe give a little shout out in the chat that maybe you are one of those guys, I can add you into the little spinner before I figure out who gets, these 3 books. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes. Just, yeah. But I have a lovely little spinner doodad, and we'll get to pick out who gets the books tonight. And you can tell I am not all here, and I'm not even on any cold medicine or anything. I'm just woo. So I am
Welcome to the new year,
excited.
Shannon.
I am excited to give these away. Okay. And by the way, I'm not sure how long David is going to be extending his giveaway for putting a review on his Amazon link for this book. But I'm sure he'll extend it for a little bit until everyone gets their copy and gets a chance to read it. But I did put up a video review up there, so I'm up on there. Like, get your review in, guys. It's fun. Yeah, all right. That's my little plug. How was everybody's evening last night? Hopefully it was chill and nice and blessed. And
We had
I
a good
mean,
time. We had the grandbabies, Willie and I, and we had fireworks for them. Willie did. He was like, "What are we gonna do tonight?" I was like, "I don't know. We'll just do some s'mores or something." Because my daughter was on night shift last night, and so of course he shows up in true pawpaw fashion. He's got 2 bags of fireworks, firewood, a propane heater to keep everybody warm, a cooler full of drinks, and you know what I mean. This man loved me enough. He braved Walmart's for us last night.
wow.
So that's a good man. But we had a nice family evening last night.
That's
Hope everybody
cool.
else did.
Yeah, I know. I did. I got to hang out in pajamas on my couch, watch the last episode of Stranger Things. Had to get my research on. And we played board games. It was great.
I've spent 2 days being hung on pluribus, Shannon. Thank you. Thank you so
You're
much.
so welcome. And you know what? You're really gonna be so happy when I tell you when I found out the next season is coming out. So I'm so
Well,
mad.
we have an announcement. Shannon and I have decided that we are going to do a decode um, podcast on the Apple TV show Pluribus. If you've not seen it, I would suggest that you watch it because I was 6 minutes in when I hit pause and texted Shannon. Because
Yeah.
we keep trying to watch shows together that, we can tell there's disclosure in or information. I was like 6 minutes in and I'm like, oh my lanterns.
That's exactly how I felt.
I'm like, they are just slinging it all out there and wallpapering the wall with the truth and putting it in a show in front of you. And it really got our brain to turning. So, and I'm not going to give any of it away, but we may just do some extra episodes of Shannon and I and do a pluribus breakdown. So if you haven't watched it, watch it and watch it with an open mind that we'll just use the word telepathy and maybe the beginning of everything because they can't lie. But just watch it. You'll see. Okay, on to what we were going to talk about, Shannon.
Well, we were going to discuss 2 different topics. Um, just because it is, of course, a technical holiday, I'm not going to, get too in depth today, but we will continue this. I know I say that a lot, and we do kind of do that. But I do mean it. But we are going to discuss a bit about King Og and the Nephilim. It's literally one of my absolute favorite obsessions and topics, biblically speaking, is the Nephilim and the giants, and and the fact that this is all real and not make believe like they've wanted us to think through film and, novels and things along those lines. And, that's we have to definitely cover that, especially since you're kind of getting into this whole topic with King Og and the RH negative bloodlines and all the differences with that. And then also, I kind of wanted to touch on Dr. Bronner's soap today, but we'll go on with that towards the end. I just kind of wanted to reiterate, we talk a lot on this entire network, like every single one of the content creators in our network, we're all very obsessive in talking about health, using natural products, things that aren't filled with chemical poison, all of that stuff. And this is literally one of the best soaps out there to clean your body and your house, and it's all natural. And the story behind the creator of this brand, which was a family business to begin with for a long, long time, is pretty incredible. And, one of the subject matters we've talked about on that is how when we talk or write things out, say things out loud, write things, have intentions, it's a frequency. And when it's directed towards something specifically, it has an effect on that substance or whatever that matter, that material is. And Dr. Bronner's, I mean, literally just covers every single one of his products in just all kinds of positive, amazing messages. And it talks about God and oneness. And, some of it may sound a little culty. There's so many out there, you never know. But I mean, I've used this soap for the last 17 years, and it's been just a blessing in my household. I learned from my hippie dad all about it, and, people call it hippie soap, and it might well be, but
Hey, it's
it's,
okay. Last time I checked, them hippies had the right idea. And
did with a lot of things,
with a
not
lot of things.
everything,
And
but
as usual, our government, with the word tinfoil hat that they made up to disparage us, and conspiracy theorists, are the same people that come up with the word hippie to disparage a group of people who just wanted peace, love, and light. I mean, which is exactly what we're all pushing for: truth
right.
and love. And
And yeah, so we'll get into him after we get into King Og. And I did want to mention Big E, that I did add you onto this spinner. Even though you say you have the book already, you can always get this version and, hand it out. Gotta share the love. So I'll
give
I'll,
it
I'll
as a
add you
gift.
on there. Yeah, that's right. But all right, so on to King Og. Okay, this is such an awesome subject. Like, I'm so obsessed with it.
She's obsessed
So
with giant spokes.
I am. I can't help it. Okay, one of the
And neither
things,
one of
right?
us are taller than 5'5". Just FYI.
This is why I'm obsessed. I don't know. But here's the thing, right? You know, for centuries that we've been hearing all of this as lore, as thing of mythologies or
Fairy
fictional
tales.
stories, fairy tales. The amount of evidence, archaeological evidence over the last several hundred years that has literally uncovered these bones of, I would say, even the mid range giants, because there are things like the Titans, where in the book of Enoch, he's saying they're like 30 ells tall, which is, we're talking an entire mountain range standing up on its tip from one end to another upside.
You
Yeah,
can
there's
still
different,
see some of these fantastic creatures that have
right?
turned into stone.
Well, see, right, and so throughout history, even the last, I'd say, a couple hundred years, the art that would come out, you would see even, like, mountain ranges always being depicted as, like, giants, like sleeping giants, and now that we have Google Earth, guys, which, give or take on lies of how geography really works or not, there's still so much evidence on this Google Earth thing, that you can see things from a bird's eye view. And you start to realize that some of these mountains are actually the titans, like the actual giant creatures. And I know we've talked about the ancient giant trees, and there's, of course, a difference between some of these mountain ranges and these weird stump looking things, out there. But the thing about King Og is there's a book, right? That he wrote, I suppose it's the Lost Book of King Og. And King Og is even mentioned in the Bible. And I do believe, isn't it like I know Noah has contact, but even Moses, I believe Moses actually has contact with King Og. So King Og doesn't necessarily die in the Great Deluge, but in his book, in the Lost Book of King Og, he is literally talking about this huge, massive war between two different sects of these giants. And one of the sects of giants decided they were going to follow God and get circumcised and all of that because of all the woes. And they had, there had been talk around about a big judgment. And so this particular sect of giants decided they were going to do that. And well, King Og, his dude's Baal, dude. That's his dude. And how dare you? And whoo, let me tell you some of the vile language that this guy uses in his depiction of how he feels about these said fellow giants. And they're just literally hacking each other up as the flood is commencing. It's pretty intense. It's a pretty intense book, but it's kind of hard to read if you're not capable of handling some of the vile language. And I mean, we're talking, there's some graphic stuff that he does to these fellow giants he's at war with. You have anything to say on that one?
It's disturbing. Be prepared. But if you have to take it in with open eyes and open ears, because I have, as of today, I heard something phrased very, very well. A lot of us, many of our viewers, found yourself in school being labeled divergent and things of that nature. That's because you weren't programmable. And when the programming falls away and you start seeing these things for what they are, if there wasn't truth to this, the Vatican and the Smithsonian wouldn't have miles and miles and miles of this stuff hidden out of sight, out of view. It changes their narrative, so they can't let you see it. They can't let you know it's there. I was looking at, what is it, Lovelock Cave Giants
Uh-huh.
earlier, and as soon as the government comes swooping in, it disappeared. It was gone.
Of course. Well, it's interesting too because they have admitted in the public forum that they have discovered King Og's bed. So they admit that this giant that is mentioned in the Bible and that is the narrator of this book um actually exists and was real, and measured his bed, and it was ridiculously massive. And it's like there's all of these buildings, and how we've talked about the Great Reset
Big
before, and
doors.
Tartaria and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's like massive tours. I mean, even the Vatican, guys. Like, who needs
Well,
who are they going to entertain to come walk in that door? Because I mean, everyone else in Italy, they're pretty tiny, okay? We're little
yeah,
people.
we are the little people.
We are the little people.
The little people. Um, I was reading a thing earlier that even talks about Gilgamesh in
Yeah.
some of his stuff, mentioning giants and things of that nature. And they have now archaeologically proven that Gilgamesh was real. And, his time, his reign, his stuff, it's real. And that Gilgamesh mentions giants and Og. And so I'm going to take you back to a time when we're getting into the word lexicon now, folks. Two pointy things that stood in a big appled city, and something come birds came at them supposedly,
Very
and they
large
went
one.
kaboom and came down. That time, we know what we're talking
Yeah.
about.
Uh-huh.
The invasion that occurred in another country due to those incidents were a cover up to go find Gilgamesh's tomb.
Mm-hmm. That
If
is correct.
Gilgamesh wasn't real, why would you blow that up just so you could start a war to go find it?
Does everyone remember the Pizzagate days?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Remember those emails, the infamous Hillary emails?
Mm-hmm.
They they uncovered a couple of emails of her discussing what she wanted done with those remains of Gilgamesh.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Those
Mm-hmm.
were uncovered alongside all the other gnarly, nasty things they're into.
That woman is evil. And
Evil.
I do mean evil. I did
So
not know it
evil.
today. Did you know that it mentions in the Bible shape shifting?
I've heard this, but I can't remember what the evidence was.
Hang on, I had it pulled up earlier. Let me see if I can.
I mean, I know it talks about how Satan himself can disguise himself as an angel of light. That's a depiction of shape shifting, but
Oh no, I mean actually into other animals.
interesting.
Let's see. And it's a full moon, so just saying today.
Today, it says 2 days on my phone.
It looks full. I didn't look at mine, but it looks full outside. Let's see.
No, it says 2 days. So 2 days.
Okay. There were giants in the earth in those days and after, which meant after the flood. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't drown. Noah didn't kill them. He took one with him. Og was on the ark. That's why his kids show up in the book of Numbers, Deuteronomy, and Samuel. David fights Goliath, but Goliath's just a runt. Karoth Arba was full of them. Let's see. I'm reading. I got notes on the screen where I'd like copied stuff. Why is it not showing up there now? Because I actually looked it up a while ago. But it was, oh, here we go. Um, the Book of Giants from the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Enoch fragments, the Gregory, the Watchers, laid with human women, started popping out goat legged children. Og was the last full blood, the rest got diluted. That's why the Anakim were only 6 cubits, 6'9", not 9. They were shapeshifters gone wrong, lost control, and just became dumb muscle. It says Gilgamesh was 2/3 divine. And I'm reading. I'm sorry. I'm reading through notes that I had made. But yeah, it says that there were a couple of mentions of how they would actually shift into animals, like into a lion or a tiger when they went into battle. So I got to go back and do some research on that
Hmm.
because we already questioning some of these people we see on screen being shapeshifters.
That is so correct. I cannot tell you how many video clips I have seen over the last 20 years. Okay, 20 years of people pointing out, like, what the heck just happened to that person's eyeball? Where did those teeth come from? Oh, and they just retracted back. What kind of
Oh, I
skin
seen
is
I
that?
seen one
I
I
mean,
seen one the other day, LeBron James, that was just like a horror movie looking.
you. There's a
Yeah.
lot out there, America.
It, yeah. I don't even think that's one person. I think that's 3 or 4
No.
different demons
Our
inhabiting.
Legion.
Yeah.
Legion.
One body, many altars. Now, I don't know if
Mhm.
anybody out there's ever come across somebody with altars in them, but people shapeshift when they got altars in them. Their eyes
Yes.
change, their face changes, the literal physical structure. Okay, I have witnessed this. Someone who is bipolar, whatever, eyes turn
Oh,
black,
excuse me.
the face changed, like the physical structure of his face changed. And sometimes when people go into that mode, it activates a part of their brain, which is just kind of rage, and they can't shift back until they get the rage out. And yeah, that can be scary. I have literally, have you seen the guy that was on one of the talk shows? And when he does the impression of actors, his face actually changes and he looks like them.
No, I don't think so.
He was on, and I've seen this clip a few times. He was on some of the late night shows. Might have been that Schmimmy Schmimmel. I can't stand him. I'm not even going to say his name out loud and give him the time of day. But it might have been on his show. I'm not sure. I'll have to find it. I'll find that and send it to you, Shannon. This dude, he's like an impressionist, and he can, he can mimic Tom Cruise or whoever. When this guy does his impression, his face changes, like shifts. Okay, go ahead and
Terrifying.
tell him about King Arthur.
No, like that's terrifying. I did say that's what I was like. I was listening, and now I'm like, okay, shift back to King Og. No, it's okay. um, yeah. So King Og. See, I'm curious as to what was it that where was the information you got that King Og was the one that was on Noah's Ark? I kind of wanted to touch back on that because that kind of was like, whoa, what? Because I know that he was battling the other dude whose name was Nimrod, but it's not the actual Nimrod that ends up coming later, which ends up from Ham, right? Which is Noah's line. But Nimrod in the story of the King Og story, right? He's the one who decides to go with God and to get circumcised, and all his people end up doing that. And that's how they end up at war with each other. So I'm curious if it was technically the other guy, but I don't know because that would just make much more sense. And here I am getting really in depth on that thought. Sorry. Hello, Roxy. I lost you. Uh-oh. Well, while Roxy is doing whatever it is she's doing, she might be having some technical difficulties. I will take this moment to kind of take a break and select some winners for this giveaway here. And so I will put the camera back on so you can see that I'm doing this in real time. And I'm going to also put up this here so you guys know where to email me, those who have been selected, so I know where to send your prize. And no worries, no one will have that information but me, and I can destroy it if you so desire afterwards. I'm not going to do anything fancy with it except for maybe send you gifts. So,
She's a
anyways,
fantastic gift giver.
I am. All right. So our first giveaway. That would be Sarah Wyckoff. All right.
Go, girl.
That's right. So she's our first lady. I'm just going to cheat and screenshot that so that way I don't have to. This is me, okay? I'm old. All right. And winner number 2. This is kind of fun. Not that you can really see. It's kind of like hard to see. Nobody. Hopefully this doesn't take all day. Sand Grady. That's what's up. You are winner number 2. Sandra, and I will put you guys all up on the ticker so that way you have some time to figure out that you're the winner. And the last but not least. Oh, can't do that. It was already Sarah. Sorry about that. God is my banner. God is my banner. And you are lucky winner number 3. I'm going to take a picture of that. All right. So please email me at Children of the Most High, or you can email Roxy at her email too if you already have that, or she can put that up there. Either way, we will get this stuff to you as soon as possible. Congratulations and thank you for
post it on the
subscribing.
community board.
Yeah. Thanks for subscribing, guys. I super appreciate you participating in our little fun giveaway. We'll have more of these throughout the year. And yeah, I hope you all keep liking and subscribing and checking out our stuff.
Yep.
And
We are
now
on a
back
strive
to-
for 500. We can't earn one single penny until we get to 500 subscribers. So, phone a friend. If you got a second account, go subscribe with that one too. We need it.
So I'm going to give you a minute to kind of go through some of the stuff on King Og that you wanted to talk about a little bit before we move on to Dr. Bronner's. And, of course, I'll discuss a little bit with you, but I kind of wanted to put up the names of the winners real quick. And I'm not as cool as you. I can't do like 50 things and type because I'm not a typist.
I'm not touching my computer because it causes technical issues, so you do the typing.
You got
But
it.
no, King Og is a very interesting character. It is a wild thing to read. It is, like Shannon said, it's kind of graphic. There's some definite gore in there and some things of that nature. But for so long, we have been told so many lies. Everything's a lie. If you're watching this show, everything's been a lie. All of the fairy tales, all of this. And I heard somebody, I was listening to a thing the other day, and it was talking about, how like we see all these civilizations that there are some cities over there in these countries, old cities, where it looks like the rocks melted. It looks like the whole dang town just melted. And then there's some of them that look like they were flooded out. And For so long, we were taught these Bible stories, God parting the Red Sea, and it was taught that it was such a fantasy. And our mind's eye has a way of seeing things. Okay, you've never seen a unicorn in real life. Yet, if I ask you what a unicorn looks like, you're probably going to tell me it's a white horse with pretty hair with a horn out of its head. But that's what you've been taught to think that's what a unicorn looked like. I'm not saying it doesn't. I don't know any different. I'm just saying that that's what your mind has been taught the image of by mass media, just like dinosaurs. We've been told what T Rex and everybody else looked like. Well, I don't think there was nobody else on this earth alive when T Rex was, so how you know what he looked like? How you know what color he was? Weren't no dinosaurs, they were dragons anyway. But that's a whole nother show.
Well,
But
don't
you,
they say they're more related to birds too than they are
yes,
lizards and
yes.
yeah.
Well, when we talk about things like King Og, I mean, you've got somebody here who were, these giants were humongous. That'll take you into a whole different realm of thinking. When you think about the sheer size of what these giants might have been, the bigger the animal, human or animal, the bigger they are, the more oxygen it's going to take, the more water it's going to take, the more, thank you, Biggie, the more food it's going to take. It's going to take more resources. And this is simple. Y'all know I go to car analogies. This is driving a Toyota Corolla versus driving a Hummer. A Hummer takes more gas. A Toyota Corolla, you can drive across the country on maybe one tank of gas, two tops. A Hummer, you can just drive into the next gas station. These critters was eating a lot and drinking a lot, and they had insatiable appetites. But when you think about things like the size of these creatures, giants, the quantity of oxygen that they would have needed. Well, when the flood comes along and everything's deluged, go ahead, Big E, you the man. But he cut down all the trees. We see all these stumps that we've looked at. They're supposed to be rock formations that we can clearly see are trees. When you're talking about a firmament, which would put us in a biodome, so to speak, a terrarium. If you cut down all the greenery out of the terrarium, the oxygen level automatically reduces. So, therefore, any animals that needed a higher percentage of oxygen would have a hard time surviving. When you take any kind of reptile or whatever and put it in a biodome, a terrarium, if you start slowly reducing the oxygen or you quickly reduce the oxygen, you will either kill it or the next generation will be smaller. Every living being will adapt to their environment. So, if God decided he was going to deluge the whole world, cut down the big trees, and scatter everything into the winds, any large creatures that had been made by these Nephilim, other than maybe a few of them that hid and survived, would have died just simply due to the water and the lower oxygen content. These were some big critters, people. I mean, these you've seen the doors on the buildings. Look at those buildings. Ain't nobody okay. These people back then, we talking about people that's supposed to be using rock hammers. That they supposedly had no technology. But look at the buildings that have been standing all this time. And last time I checked, if I was building a house, I had minimal tools to do it with. I don't think I would build a door that was 5 times taller than I actually needed as a human. Sounds excessive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, poor people wouldn't go by an average man. Me, I'm poor. I'm poor. I would not go buy gold plated faucets to go in my bathroom. The one from Lowe's or Home Depot is going to work just fine. You're working on basics. Okay, if you're building a nice building or whatever, you're going to build it to accommodate you. You're not going to build it with a 30-foot door that it's going to take a horse and buggy and everything else to open said door. First off, some of them doors was made of iron. Who was opening them doors? It weren't none of us little 5 foot fivers, I promise you.
I have a hard enough time opening like business doors that are large. I can't even imagine.
I do have trouble with some heavy doors sometimes.
I'm a tiny person.
I'm a tiny person. I enjoy being a tiny person. People don't see you when you come in the room, but they generally hear me before I get there anyway. But
They may not see me all the time, but they sense I'm there.
they hear me
That's for
coming.
sure.
Like I make my presence known when I walk in a room.
Oh man.
But I
Oh,
mean, these creatures were humongous. I mean, you talking about in your mind's eye, think about the fact of what you've been taught that a Tyrannosaurus Rex was. All right, King Og would have been riding this thing like he was a miniature pony. It just is. It just there's no way to explain this. And the more we look at the archaeology and the historical things that are being found and all the things that we're finding that we're digging through now, all of it was true. It wasn't a fantasy. It wasn't something that somebody made up in a nursery rhyme. This was true. It didn't work. The good Lord reset it and he tried again. And there are a few remnants of that survived and play out and got stuck in DNA. And Shannon and I are always on this trail of blood type because we truly believe that these blood types and the RH negative and positive have a lot to do with this contamination of God's creation.
what's interesting, right? Because you mentioned the geography and stuff like that. Something I wanted to mention in the book that we were talking about earlier. I mean, he's graphically talking about how they are just like hacking each other up as the flood is going down, right? And we've mentioned things like mud fossilization and that, during this flood process, a lot of things ended up turning to stone. And of course, there's all the tales of Medusa and turning things into stone. And so it's not so hard to think that some of these landscapes that we see, like say in Utah or some of those places where everything looks kind of like hunks of flesh just strewn about in stone, because it
Well,
kind of
if
is.
anybody out there uses pink Himalayan salt, I beg of you to go look it up and see where it comes from.
Yeah.
That is giant muscle and
Mm-hmm.
bone, and it is all day long. It looks like hunks of bacon.
Yep.
When they cut it out the mountain, it looks like strips of bacon.
What wasn't it you too that sent me a message or something along those lines about how they have found that some of these quote unquote statues or sculptures now, they actually have bones inside of them and stuff.
They are bleeding.
They're bleeding.
They are bleeding.
Ooh. And
Some
so
of
that
the
totally reminds me of Medusa, I gotta say. That's
Absolutely.
straight
There are
Medusa
quite
stuff.
a few statues out there that we have admired over time that, whatever artist supposedly done. And when you look at these beautiful statues of these people from back, when Leonardo da Vinci and all of them lived, and previous to that, you can see the veins in these statues that were supposedly carved in marble. These things are ultra realistic. I mean, they've got muscle tone, they've got veins. They've actually, like, I've seen a few of them, like, where they get up close to them. You could, like, almost see pores in the skin of this marble statue. Well, somebody broke an arm off one of them. Guess what was inside of it? A bone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Those are not statues, folks. They are
See,
now. They weren't then.
all of that stuff that they call quote unquote mythology, this is just um another
Tinfoil hat words.
perspective. Yeah, it's another perspective point of the biblical history that they have suppressed from us for so long. The book of Enoch was always meant for another generation, not necessarily his generation. Well, it's been hidden for so long, and just in these last 20 years, it's just made a huge resurgence in the world stage. And I know, of course, the internet is like, there are a few blessings from the internet, like us being able to connect to you guys tonight. But it's just kind of amazing to think, well, we must be that generation because it is so in our face and so obvious. And we can actually see this stuff from a bird's eye view, which others could not for centuries. But because of things like Google Earth and all of that, we can actually see for ourselves with our own eyeballs that some of these these mountains and stuff that they say are just from shifts of land pushing together are really actual beings or remains of giant trees or r- evidence that says that our past is so much more insane than they want us to know, but it's the truth. And if we don't know the truth, we are doomed to repeat history, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, we
And
got to
when
get
we,
on that. I got a
oh,
geology thing, but first I got to ask Big E. Don't be talking about you tracking something, buddy, unless you're going to share it in here, because now you done made me nosy. Give it up.
and
Give it
thank
up.
you if you are serious about the just got 4 more subs. 6, yeah. I hope that's right.
I
Thank
told you
you.
he was the man.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, our 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 cold weathered friend just reminded me something,
Ooh.
or us. He sent it in our us text
Oh, I
message.
haven't. I'm on
Um,
like do not disturb.
lithium, Dragonspire.
Oh.
Go
Yes, King in the North. Okay, sorry.
go take a look, everybody, at the U.S. geology maps. Go look for particular geological hotspots. When you start looking at those hotspots and what particular mineral or just his niece. See, I thought we was all down a conspiracy theory there, Biggie. I was like, who we tracking? Who we tracking? Anyway, um, okay, Mount Pilot, North Carolina, has one of the biggest granite deposits on Earth. It can supposedly be seen from space, which we know is irrelevant because NASA is a lie. Anyway, it is. You Google Earth, you can see it. It is a natural. It's huge. Also in that same area is Mount Pilot, which is a flat top stump that is supposed to be a mountain. I have actually been to Mount Pilot and been there at it, got pictures of it. We took my mother-in-law on vacation there a couple of years ago because that's where they filmed Andy Griffith at. My old redneck self had to go there where Andy Griffith was filmed. But yeah, I love me some Andy Griffith. It was a good, simple show, good family show. But look at where these um, deposits of granite and the type of granite. There is one, and I think it's called blue something other granite. The only place you can find that granite in the world is in the Blue Ridge Mountains. You gonna tell me that one geological spot on this whole whatever it is, flat rock, round rock, whatever it is, on the rock we're riding on. But what I was talking about a while ago with size, like King Og could ride a T Rex, like a mini pony. Okay, you got a bunch of them. if they're that big and they're like the size of mountain ranges, I don't think that the place we're living on was big enough to house them all. Like physically big enough. I don't care how many continents you got. So when I think about that, I think about this ice ring theory of an ice ring being around us, and maybe that was like a containment zone. That,
Right.
that, that there's land, much more land beyond the ice ring, which would explain how we had trees that big and giants that could ride T Rexes. I mean, it would make a lot more sense if we were in a actual bigger place than we think we are. And we've been lied to so much and programmed and disillusioned and called crazy that it sounds crazy when you say that out loud. And maybe I'm not crazy because I know it sounds crazy, if that makes sense, but something just ain't jiving with the math. I mean, you not putting a monster on a T Rex like a mini Shetland pony and telling me that these couple of continents that we got was big enough for that.
Right. Well, too, what gets brought up a lot, especially with the size kind of thing, right? That I hear amongst the circles of us weirdo believers who believe in these giants. I'm just saying that they were eating each other. It was like they were eating all the animals, they were eating all the resources, then they ran out of that. They ate people, and they were running out of people to eat, and people were hiding. And so they were eating each other. And it's like, could you imagine these massive things, how much they would have to consume to be able to survive? You know what I mean? The calorie consumption.
Oh
And
my
so they
gosh.
were like
Pluribus. There
breeding.
you go, Shannon.
Right.
Pluribus. We're right back there
Exactly.
again.
Uh-huh. And but they were breeding dragons to eat. Okay. They were pets, but they were also like as food sustenance. Like they were massive,
There are
massive beings.
actual books that are written, old books, folks, about the medicinal remedy of the bile of the stomach of a dragon.
Yep. Or even the medicinal remedies of the crushed bones, or no, the crushed unicorn horn. That's what it was.
Mhm. Folks, there used to be unicorns and dragons, but they're like everything else in this world. Somebody thought that they should have them all, and so they destroyed them. They went extinct, along with other animals that we have. Even if they were unique animals, not to say that they weren't some kind of crossbreed or Nephilim, or maybe the good Lord made a couple of unicorns in the beginning, but they had some kind of magical power. Hey, Cash, hope you're feeling better.
If
Um,
it, oh,
Go ahead.
if any of you guys ever get a chance to look up this content creator, I believe his channel is called the Nephilim Look Like Clowns. This guy is absolutely 100% right on the money on his understanding of what these Nephilim creatures are, and like the spirit behind, the fear and obsession with dressing like a clown, where it all comes from, what is behind everything, and all of the cultures around the world, how their depictions of these god and demon type beings looked, and they looked like clowns. But it's just very fascinating, his the way he kind of came about it. And I am very familiar with his story because I share a lot of similarities, and we both unfortunately went down the road of experimenting with dimethyltryptamine and hallucinogenic things, and found that this realm that you go to in these kinds of situations is like where these disembodied beings reside. And the common themes of the jester in these trips and things along the lines that you hear are also very similar to the depictions of clowns or these Nephilim. And it's just the history that he brings up. He wrote a whole book about it. It's really, really fascinating stuff. So if you ever get a chance to go down that road, if you're interested, it's really interesting information. And maybe one of these days we can get an interview with him because he's a really interesting guy.
I've been watching a couple of interesting guys lately. Tara said Paul Dobbs was his name.
Yep, that's him. A very, very knowledgeable kid on that subject.
Sorry, got a text message, guys.
Is it?
Nobody likes anchovies on the pizza. Anyway, side note. Anyway,
Hold on.
my brain just completely turned around and went to undercarriage sun tanning for some reason. I don't know, but anyway,
Oh no. Yeah,
ADD kicked in again.
that's
There we
so
went, guys.
funny. Oh my
But
gosh.
no, they have told us so many things in our life was just a fairy tale or untrue, and so I just ask that everybody open your mind. And I had to take things from a point of, instead of drilling in on one thing's, backing out at 20,000 foot and looking at the world, as Daniel calls it, the world from a different perspective. Because if you think about the scale of what these creatures should have been versus the scale versus the scale of the world we live in. I'm sorry, y'all. We got a text message coming through and it's cracking us up. Anyway, stop it. But see, and still going dot dot dot. Yeah, he stopped. You're distracting me. Anyway, the scale of these people and these creatures on the continent that we live on now is just impossible.
Well, that's why this is why in the Bible, when it says men's hearts will fail them for what they see, think about it. If you've never in your life contemplated that this could actually be reality. This is just stuff from the movies. And then, these Nephilim giants come out from the pit and
All
it's
right,
terrifying. They're
I got a
gonna just
question.
drop dead.
Every audience member we got out there, I want to ask you one question. When you first became awakened, what is the first thing that you researched that was driving your mind crazy? What was the first thing that, like, completely drew you in and you had to find out about it? And it's still to this day, when you find out something different, you kind of like go over there and put a side note on it, and tagging in with your other stuff. Mine has been Antarctica, is where mine started at. And then it went Antarctica, and then it went Hitler, and then I went backwards from Hitler and forward. And oh, I said his name out loud, didn't I? Anyway, I don't care. Um, there's something to that. You've got an ice, and I'm gonna say ice ring because that's what I believe it is. Because water always finds its level, and I'm sorry, take a tennis ball and put it on something and wet it and spin it, and that water gonna sling off. It ain't gonna stay on the surface of that tennis ball. I mean, just come on, some science there ain't working for me. But anyway, if you have an ice ring that's containing us in our biodome, outside of this, there is more land outside of our firmament biodome ice ring contraption that I see in my head. Antarctica is the only place on Earth that all these governments get along. Nobody fusses. And then all of a sudden, a couple of days before elections and things like that, you got these fancy schmancy, politicians jumping on planes to fly to Antarctica.
I have a question for you, Roxy, and for our audience. Have any of you ever watched the movie Cabin in the Woods?
I don't think so. If it's a scary movie, I haven't watched it.
See, this is the problem of my household is I unfortunately cannot get away from those particular kinds of movies because my husband and my daughter are like obsessed with them, and then me and my son are like, no, we don't want to watch it. We're like, run away. We're watching Ghostbusters because we're like gonna go kick some ghost butts, and they're like watching
Mhm.
horrific things. Anyways, long story short, Cabin in the Woods, right? This movie, which it's supposedly just some really terrible, cheesy movie. It's pretty gory and awful, but the subject matter is these kids get lured into this cabin in the woods, and where everything is video cam, like there's surveillance stuff everywhere. Things are all set up, and it's like every so often they have to conduct these literal worldwide government granted and improvised sacrifices to these big giant gods, or else they're going to destroy the world. So these poor teenagers or like young adults go in and have no idea that they're about to be totally mass slaughtered by these horrific things, but it's all to do this sacrifice, and all these places around the world have to do the same thing. And it's just absolutely horrific, but the underlying story of it all, it's like the government is all a part of this, setting this up to make sure this sacrifice goes off without a hinge every time, so the whole world can be saved from these massive beings that have been there since the beginning of time, and they're like the titans. And so it's like it's interesting how some of these really terrible horror flicks have like these true underlying statements to them. And
Would
I mean,
why, Shannon? Would you be meaning when those two those kind of instances when the two pointy things fell down when the birds with motors supposedly hit them? Mass sacrifice.
exactly. I mean, literally, you know what Holocaust means? They did not use the term genocide. They used the term Holocaust. That means burnt offerings. That was a mass sacrifice.
Okay, well, I got some things about that mass sacrifice. As we know, everything has been a lie. There's a
Mhm.
great portion of that is a lie. I see
Well,
you,
of
Super
course.
Sidewinder. Hey,
Of course, but you also got to remember that, like, you know how you mentioned what was one of those first subjects that you kind of went insane over. I had a few, but when I really kind of woke up from my testimony, I was straight led into Saturn and understanding all this black Saturn worship, and which is a lot of the basis from most of the cults you hear about today. And he was, the little funny man with the stash, he was all up in that black Saturn worship. You know what I'm saying? He was all
hmm
up in it. All up
yep.
in it. So,
And he didn't think Aryans were blonde haired, blue eyed folks. He thinks they're
no.
aliens from another land.
Giants.
hmm That look like aliens. That look like lizards. My
But
bad.
see, we also though did mention in a previous thing when we were talking about the books of the Apocrypha that Noah, when he was born, he looked, I mean, he was like albino, but his father was so freaked out because he looked like one of the angelic beings, the fallen angels that had come down and caused all the chaos. So he was all freaked out. But, then God reassured him, no, this is, a pure blood. He's going to save the world kind of thing. So
hmm
he was pure white skin, had like bright blue eyes, white hair. He didn't have hardly any pigment. And they considered that to be like the angelic guys who came down from heaven. So there's something to the whole supposed Aryan blonde hair, blue eye thing, kind of, but it's totally muddled with a bunch of nonsense.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
Well,
100%.
and I've been since I've been going backwards down the Bible trail. I've been taking multiple Bibles and comparing them, and then doing the translation, which I find is a whole new thing now.
A whole new thing.
Um, I recently, sorry, I was getting strangled on my Mary Jane candy. I'm eating my last piece, Shannon. Anyway,
No.
that
What'd you
when
say?
you look at names or words, and it could be a simple word in the Bible, the King James Version or some of these newer versions, when you go back to an older version and you go back to original translations, by the time it's been translated to a current word, it does not mean the same thing anymore. And even the wood that Noah made the boat from, I have found three different types of wood they claimed it was. I've seen gopher wood, I've seen cypress, and what was the other one? Can't remember what the other one was.
Acacia
Nope,
or
maybe it was acacia. Just FYI, if you put some fire to some acacia, you will have an out of this world experience.
why does that not surprise me?
Well, and if you look at the things when these people were smoking their peace pipe, they put cannabis and acacia in it,
Interesting. I did not know
and
that
tobacco.
the acacia was part of that.
Hmm.
I must look this up. Hmm.
I think acacia's got something somewhere between some cannabis and some DMT kind of experience going on with it.
Well,
But if you,
DMT is pretty much in everything, but we have these inhibitors in our stomachs to where when we ingest everything, we're not constantly tripping like cats. So, that's why when you do like ayahuasca and stuff, they tell you you have to ingest it with another plant to reduce those inhibitors, I guess. Which I have never actually personally done myself, but have been there to see others participate in such nonsense. So, you know,
I hear good things about ibogaine and ayahuasca for PTSD, but
with anything, there's always some good things. It's just, it's that's a subject matter one day that we will delve greatly into because there is medicine, plants, and things on this earth that God gave us for a reason. And not to say that there is not a reason for maybe some of these things, but the way our society in this day and age deals with that is absolutely dangerous. So, that being
well,
said,
and our friend just reminded us that when we talk about things like this, there are trees growing in your yard. The mimosa tree. Look it up.
yeah,
Look up
yeah,
the bark, folks. Look up the root and see what it does. And I'm not promoting to go try it or anything of that nature. I've never had DMT. Don't know that I ever will. Well, I know I will. I've already had it once in my life. Probably had it 4 times, but I had no
well,
control over it.
when you are born and when you die, you produce it
I've had
naturally, and when
three.
you go to sleep and dream.
Well, I've had three near death experiences. So I probably had a massive dose during that time because I've got one that was
Mhm.
like a really slow motion. And I was literally, the state troopers came back and dragged that accident site and said I was doing like 106 when I rounded that
Mm.
corner. But I can remember it like I was running 2 miles an hour. Like I can remove every movement, every word, everything of that accident. And Daniel and I had a conversation that we think that's due to DMT because there are a lot of people that are in near death experiences and
Or
it's like
time
everything
slows.
goes in slow motion.
Yep. It would not surprise me whatsoever. And,
Now, when you
someone who has done it both ways, you know, where it is not of my fruition because it's a natural thing in my near death experiences, and someone who has dabbled in it in the wrong ways. So I can see how that is.
Well, when you die, your body doses you with a massive dose of DMT.
Mhm.
I'm talking tripping like you have no idea what tripping is.
Mhm.
And they say that, okay, you've heard of people, especially like older people that have been in, palliative care or whatever, or somebody with cancer that's dying, going out. You hear them talk about they see their mom or they see their brother, or, oh, I'm almost home. I've actually heard that come out of two different people's mouth that was passing away, that were
Yeah.
within a few hours of the window of leaving. And it was like, oh, they had seen their mom or they were going home and they're tripping on DMT. I'm not saying they're not seeing what they say they're seeing. I don't have no doubt that they're probably seeing that. We live in a third dimension, in a 3D world. The fact that there are more dimensions out there that we just can't see and perceive because our pineal gland has been so dampened and hampered with all of the stuff in the water, in the food, everywhere, everything. See, I'm back on the soapbox again, Shannon.
Hey, what a great segue.
Soapbox, there you go. Yeah.
What a great
Didn't
segue
even mean
to
to.
our ending subject because we're going on so much longer than I intended, but that's not a bad thing. I'm glad I have the energy. But all right, I'm gonna turn this camera back on. So sorry about that, but I wanted to show off my sad and very used bottle here of Dr. Bronner's. If my camera will work, maybe it's kind of laggy. Da, 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 maybe. I don't know what's going on. Silly. Oh, there it is. Hi. So here is, gosh, I get it close to the camera and the light just like takes over. Anyways, this is the lavender scent. This is Dr. Bronner's larger bottle because we all end up using this stuff like we all do in my family. And they come with like little refill bottles if you want. That's in like a carton, like a little milk carton kind of thing. But as you can maybe see, all of these little lines, these are all words. This is like crazy. So the interesting thing about Dr. Bronner, okay, is he came from a family in Germany, a long line of family who created soap, natural soap. That was what they did, and part of their farming stuff was all about making soap. And he ended up fleeing Germany right before World War II hit really hard. He saw all the things happening and he was smart and awake like all of us are. And he would go out and try to give out samples of his soap, but he would get on his soapbox, right? And try and spread his message of God and togetherness and that we are all one and that God is love, and really trying to hone in on the positive important messages of God and unity instead of division because of what was happening in front of his eyes. He tried desperately to get the rest of his family to flee, but none of them believed him. They all thought he was crazy and everything was going to be just fine. And the little guy with the mustache was going to be fantastic. So he ends up fleeing to San Diego, California. And when he would go out and talk about, his subject matter and hand out the soap, a lot of people just wanted the soap. They didn't care so much about his message. So he decided when he was out there, he was going to write his message on his soap.
Playing.
Right. And in turn, I I don't even know if he realized the impact on the product itself, on the soap, that he created by putting all of this positive stuff about God and unity and true cleanliness and true all of this. It's just kind of a beautiful thing. And it ends up transforming this frequency with this soap into something beautiful and of God and a positive frequency. So on top of it being natural, it is beneficial and it really does have healing benefits to it. I just I haven't been able to use anything else since I've been using it. And if I'm using hand soap at someone else's house, I can feel it and it's like sticky on
Slimy.
there and
Yeah.
it itches and it's just not the same. But you can dilute it and use it for household cleaning. I mean, it's not going to be as hardcore as bleach, okay, on like say your bathroom stuff, but you know, when we talk about detoxing from all these chemicals and all this poison, this is a really good way to start. Your skin is like the biggest organ on your body. It soaks up more things than you do when you ingest stuff with your mouth. So, and they're not my sponsor or anything, guys, but I just really kind of thought it was neat. And something else really cool to note, right, is after Dr. Bronner passed away, his son actually passed away a few years afterwards, and his grandsons took over the business, and they've transformed it into such a beautiful family orientated business. Like they take care of their employees, unlike
Didn't
most
they try to
companies out
say that he
there.
was crazy with his message and he ended up
Oh, of
in an
course.
insane
And they've
asylum?
tried to, yeah, they sure did, but they couldn't hold him for too much longer, too long in there. I can't
He was
remember
part
how
of
he
the
got
Pity Love
out,
Pity
but
Club.
right. But the thing is too, like his one of his grandsons, because this is made from hemp seed oil and things along those lines. I mean, poor guy's been in and out of prison just trying to fight for the right to put hemp in his soap, you know. But like just the whole family history is crazy. But something to note too is the last time he ever heard from his father after he had left Germany before the war, his father said, "You were right, son. And, we should have gone with you." And that was like the last time you ever heard from him. And it's
That's
like,
sad.
he's kind of like one of us, man. So I just kind of feel that if there is a product out there to keep you clean that's natural, check out Dr. Bronner and his story and read some of the stuff on the bottle. I'm just going to read a little tiny bit. There's so much on here to read. There's no way I could do it. But it says, "How to love, for God is love, uniting all one above, above, above." Here, life's goal: to keep my health, to do my work, to love, to live, to see to it I gain and grow and give, never to look behind for me for an hour, never to wait in weakness nor walk in power, always working, searching for more truth, more light, always speaking, fighting for what I found good and right. Just, you know what I'm saying? It's like all the stuff on here. I'm like, oh my God, it's us. But, so I just kind of wanted to throw this out there. I will, eventually kind of go more in depth on some more cool things about him. And I will bring up this soap some more because I really do believe it's so much healthier than anything else you can really get out there unless you're making it yourself. So, but the added positive frequency upliftment is not a bad thing. So,
Anytime you get to raise your frequency, it's a good thing. Because they are literally trying to kill it even with the clothes that you got on.
right. I just,
Everything's working against us.
all I can say is we got to get away from all this chemical poison consumerism. I mean, fake foods, fake everything. And, I'm always reminded of the first Batman movie. that came out, Tim Burton's movie with, what is it, Jack Nicholson. He's the Joker in
Mm-hmm.
that one. And his whole shtick is he's just selling shampoo, makeup, cosmetics, soaps, of all kinds, detergents, just laced full of his poison. And everyone's all like breaking out on awful stuff, and they end up with that smile, and like they look like they're demonically possessed, like turning into zombie things and all sick. It's terrifying. And that's
Yeah,
reality, guys. It's reality.
Biggie just
Racine,
got.
Wisconsin. Yeah,
Uh
Roxy,
huh.
Racine, Wisconsin. That's right.
I'm having mic issues,
So,
Tracy. My microphone has taught me all night.
yeah, you're in the ice storm again. Well, that's okay. We have been talking your ear off here on this fake New Year's Day for quite some time, and you all probably have stuff to do. So, we will let you go. I just want to say one more time, congratulations to our winners, Sarah Wyckoff. Hopefully, I said that right. Sand Grady and God is my banner. Just email me. I've had my email address going on, and I'll send you your copy as soon as possible. And if you get a chance to put a review up on David Beverly's Amazon page for this, that would be super awesome. It would really mean a lot to him. And, by the way, he did mention that he has a project coming up here soon that I will be sharing with all of you guys and am going to take part in. And he's writing some new books and has some opportunities for some of us to become part co-writer or get credit in this book. So I'll give you all more details about that in another show. But um I love you, Roxy. Do you have anything to say to our awesome audience?
If you're not watching Pluribus, you need to go watch the whole first season because me and Shannon are fixing to tear this thing apart and show you how it is complete and
Mhm.
total disclosure right in
Yes.
front of you. Kind of scary disclosure, too.
Scary in so many ways, because
The
I
whole
can't
we,
say, but
the whole we
the
thing.
the not
There's
just
no,
that, but their idea, like how they all are like, we're so happy, everything's so happy, and
but there's
we
no
love
individual
you,
thought.
but there's no love. Like, it's weird. It's just weird.
It's gonna be a heck of a series, guys. It's called Pluribus, Tracy. It's on Apple
Mhm.
TV. It's got, if you ever watched Better Call Saul, the
Or
female that
Breaking
was a
Bad.
lawyer,
Oh
or
yeah.
Breaking Bad, yeah. She was the one that was in love with Saul and she was a lawyer. She's the main character in here. I can't remember her name, but she does a really good job. There's a few other actors or actresses that you've seen from other shows, but I don't she's about the biggest name I've seen in there. But it is there's some very unique things.
Yeah, it's written and directed by Vince Gillian or
Yeah,
Gillian,
the
something
X
like that.
Files guy.
Yeah, the X Files guy and Breaking Bad guy is the same guy. I
Mhm.
didn't know it was the
Imagine
same
that.
guy until my husband was like, "That's the same guy." I was like, "Oops." I'm
That
thinking they're
television
two
show
different
is
guys.
disclosure in disguise, but we will discuss. We may even have a whole separate series of shows on discussing it, but
What's
it's
important about this show, guys, when you watch it, is to understand the the enticement to turn. Think about that every time you watch an episode throughout the entirety of watching this. Think about how they are enticing anyone who's left who does not join in the joining. Okay, that's the scariest part. Okay, just saying.
it's unique. And it's one of these shows you got to kind of take it from the, looking at it from above, not its metaphors and its parables and it's all up in your grill. But anyway, I'll let you go with that. It's coming because Shannon and I, we're in it. We're in it to win it now. Have a good, happy, fake New Year's Eve night, guys.
And if you haven't had a chance today to tell your loved ones that you love them and to give them a hug or just a hello and a smile, please take the time to do that. Don't forget to tell someone who's a stranger that they're awesome in some way and genuinely mean it, or even just toss a smile
Absolutely.
at them. And especially make sure you give Jesus some love tonight.
And
So, yeah,
remember to speak it out loud what you're thankful for,
yeah.
what blessings you have. And even if you're struggling with some things, you still have to be thankful for what you have. Even if it's simple as I have a roof, I have water to drink, and shoes on my feet, and my stomach isn't hungry tonight. That in itself is a blessing because some people don't have that. So remember that you are richer than you think you are. You are stronger than you think you are. And tomorrow's just another day, and it'll be better than today as long as you make it that way.
Amen.
We love you all.
You guys too. All right, I will actually play the intro for the extra since we didn't get to hear it for any of you who would like to stick around in the chat and hang out. All right, guys. Love you all. Have a wonderful evening.
Good night.
Good night. Well, maybe not. I don't know what's going on with that, but sorry for any of you guys who actually like that intro. I'll have to work on it for next time. All right, love you all. Bye.